We all have days when we're not motivated and just don't feel like studying. And on those days, all I wanted to do is to lay on my bed and scrolling on my phone. I never felt the need to get myself a lot of motivation to use social media. It's kind of part of my life and I'm constantly using it. I went to Columbia University and I have spent tens of thousands of hours studying. However, I still found it so painful to motivate myself to study from time to time. Therefore, I decided to find out how social media integrates in our lives so effortlessly and uncovered the secret of how learning could be made as easy and enjoyable as social media. So I can study when I'm lazy or don't feel like it and not feeling study as a chore. And I remembered that there is actually an app that aims to make learning as addictive as social media, and it has been very successful. Duolingo.
When language learning gets hard,
make it fun. So I looked into how Duolingo makes learning very fun and addictive. According to their CEO, Luis Bonan, they're using the same psychological techniques that make people love social media to make people love learning languages. For example, they use streak to keep people wanting to come back every day, and they send notifications to remind people that they need to study at their optimal study time. So this got me curious about what are the psychological techniques social media use to keep people engaged all the time. And I discovered that originally these popular apps are based on a model called the persuasive model, developed by Stanford professor B.G. Fogg. It says that any behavior are driven by motivation, ability, and trigger, with the equation that B equals to MAT. So it means if something is very easy, then you don't need a lot of motivation to do it, like going to get some water in the kitchen. It's just very simple and you don't even need to think about it. And when something is very hard, you need a lot of motivation for it. For example, going to the gym. Every time before I go to the gym, I really need to give myself a pep talk. All the behavior has a trigger to make it happen. Social media are really good at using triggers, like sending you notifications that your friend just sent you a message or you're tagged in a post. They also make it extremely easy for you to open the app and see the content that you wanted to see. And you get a dopamine hit reward immediately, which increases your motivation to open the app next time. So the entire path is so smooth, from giving you a trigger to easily open the app, reward you, and increasing your motivation. And gradually you develop the habit or even addiction of using the app. Similar to Duolingo, they send you notifications with a super fun green owl mascot to trigger you, and they also make it super easy and fun by asking you to only learn for 5 to 15 minutes a day. And it has all the gamification features like reward badges and leadership boards. So how can we apply this to studying? When we're on the days that we just don't have a lot of motivation, then we can start with the easiest and the tiniest thing so we can get started, which is usually the hardest part. For example, when I'm feeling tired and I don't want to study at all, I will tell myself that, okay, I only need to read the textbook for 5 minutes or practice a single question. In 5 minutes, it's easy enough to actually get me sit down and open the book. But usually once I already open the book and kind of get into the flow a little bit, I end up studying way longer than 5 minutes. Progress is the best motivation. Once I learn some context and things start to make more sense, the more I learn, the more interesting it gets usually. So on the days that we don't feel like studying, we really don't need any strong motivation to get us started. Once we already made some progress, the motivation itself will come. So what are some triggers for us to start learning? And how can we use triggers to create great study habits? Obviously, different people have very different habits and it really varies. You need to find what really works for you, but here are some of my ideas. First, the most straightforward and simple one is just to list the times that you usually work and what are the optimal time for you to focus, you have the most mental clarity. You just set an alarm or just a reminder on your phone to remind you that you need to study. And number two, for me, I have a dedicated spot to study in my room. Every single time I sit down in that spot, I do some deep focus work. So naturally in the future, once I sit down, my brain and my body kind of have this habit of, oh, it's time to do some work. So even when I don't feel like working, I would just tell myself that, oh, okay, all I have to do is sit down in the spot and do 5 minutes of learning. And number three is that associate studying with some other simple habits. And it can be something like every day you come home, you grab a snack, and during the time that you eat the snack, you open the book and just study for a little bit. And in the future, whenever you kind of want to just grab a snack, you kind of have this habit of, oh, I can just open the book and read it for 5 minutes as well. And if you want to study longer, that's completely after you. This will just be a trigger for you to to actually start the action. And that's today's video. I hope it's helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Like and subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.